Hello everyone, welcome back to PJ Meets the Pros. Today we invited Jaimie here to talk about her experience as a retail sales in the jewelry store. She has a lot of insight about the market and the sales. Don't miss this. Let's get started.
I am Jaimie Vela, and I currently live in the Washington, D.C. area, work for a local family-owned jeweler in the area. I graduated in 2002, so it's 17 years since I've been out of college.
Okay.
And I actually am back in school. I'm in graduate school, and I'm getting my master's in art history. Yeah, so the company I currently work for, it is considered a luxury jewelry sales company. And so my job incorporates a lot of different facets. It's mostly sales, and then I also help with custom work, and I help facilitate our master goldsmith with repair.
So you've been in jewelry business ever since graduate for about 17 years, right? So,
yeah, off and on, and then I was in it during college as well.
Right. So while you're working so many years, what do you see the change on customer dynamic?
Oh gosh, that's probably a whole separate topic in of itself. I think, and it used to be early on when I started, and prior to that, quite frankly, sales were a lot easier. People didn't have the resources to be able to Google all of their questions that they might have. People relied on the jeweler and the salesperson for that. Now it's a completely different ballgame. The big thing you see that's different is especially millennial guys now come shopping with their parents. They come a lot of times shopping for engagement rings with their mom. You know, you're trying to kind of help the shopper, but now you have mom really involved in the picture, much more so than you used to. Your number one challenge. You'd be shocked at how much input and say mom has in that transaction. And with all of the diamond knowledge out there on sites like Blue Nile and James Allen, consumers aren't necessarily understanding what they're maybe looking at online versus what they're looking at in the store, and how that price can differentiate. You know, if they see a diamond that is F color, PS clarity, they think it should be the same price all. Really taken on kind of more of an educational process as well, as opposed to I just like it, it's pretty, I'm gonna buy it.
So with this millennial generation, it's more environmental concern. They not necessarily want a diamond. Is that true? They are accepting a color stone as on their engagement ring.
Yeah, and we see that, and quite frankly, in this location where I'm in Washington, D.C., we don't see that as much. I did see it at other stores I was in, where people don't want a diamond because they're concerned about the social ramifications. So people will choose a colored gemstone, or lab-created diamonds kind of became more of a buzz. People were choosing moissanite. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the millennial generation is a tough consumer. It's a tough one to capture as a retailer. You know, going back to that they aren't really loyal to a particular retailer. They do like to have their parents involved in major purchases. And that's different than what we've seen in past generations. No. And that's tough because that's definitely a group that retailers would like to target, that self-buyer, that female that maybe has a few $100s of, you know, money that she can spend where, you know, as jewelers, you like to have or spend it on jewelry as opposed to shoes or purse, you know, another sort of kind of luxury item. Millennials especially, I don't think do that. Most of the females that are buying for themselves are older. And I don't know if that's just because at that point they have discretionary income and can do that. Or, you know, I don't know if female millennials see the value in buying themselves.
Yeah, because I was reading the article the other day was talking about this very many other things hurting the jewelry industry because they could have buy a diamond ring, but they went to buy iPhone, you know.
Yeah.
Instead, so they start seeing value differently.
Right.
So buying
Right.
those luxury items is like redefine what luxury to them. So that's kind of very interesting things, and I think it's kind of difficult for jewelry industry now. It's like try to push them, say, "Oh, buy jewelry, hold the value," or things like that.
You know, we hear a lot that they like to spend more money on experiences, so being
Right.
traveling versus buying items for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think too, those millennials that are parents,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they are spending money on their children.
Right.
And money goes to the kids, you know,
Right.
their activities and what they need, and they're not spending it on themselves either.
Mm-hmm. Many years ago, there was a trend for like right-hand ring. Right-hand ring is basically like promoting women, you know, to be independent, buying a gift for themselves, doesn't have to rely on the man. And so in your store, especially high-end jewelry, you don't see that particular trend or like people coming to buying for themselves.
We see that a little bit if it's a woman kind of maybe celebrating a milestone, like I'm buying this for my 60th.
Right.
Or I'm buying this ring as a retirement gift to myself. You know,
Right.
kind of those big milestones. But definitely younger women are not doing that. Yeah, for the most part it is. I mean, we do have a lot of non-branded diamond fashion jewelry, and then we also have a few designer brands. You know, brands like Chopard, Roberto Coin, Marco Vecchio. Some of those might be a little bit more of a self-purchase from a woman, but for the most part, it is still men buying for women.
So what about if the customer coming, they already done a lot of research, and then they will say, well, I saw this type of a ring exactly the same. It's only sell like $2,000. Why are you selling me like $3,000? What do you usually say?
Yeah. At that point, we ask to basically find out exactly what it is they're looking at. Because, you know, there's kind of a saying, you like to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. A lot of times there could be a good reason why there's a price difference. And when it's jewelry, 90% of that time it is diamond quality.
Mm-hmm.
So, or it could be the metal and it can be the weight. So if they're looking at a pendant that is $1,000 less than my pendant, I'd like to know what it is they're looking at. Is mine in platinum and theirs is in 14 karat white gold? Is my carat weight higher than that one? You know, so it's those factors, and really you're just trying to kind of let the consumer know that there is a difference in what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes there's not.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's no difference. And I always am too. I think transparency and honesty is really important, especially in this business. And so I want that person know, you know what? I can't match that. You know, maybe it's a rate sale at that online retailer that you're looking at. It seems to be the same product as what I have. I can't match that.
So when people coming in I just want something unique, something different, would you point out something unique design to them, or you will have them completely do a custom work?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Because sometimes people don't know what is the definition of custom. So they think, you know, let's say, for example, someone has grandma's diamond and wants it set into something. Sometimes it's just a matter of ordering a mounting, you know, pre-made mounting from a manufacturer. And they might consider that custom since they
right.
and now have a finished product. We don't necessarily consider that custom. Custom is when we are going from basically a sketch or a photograph or, you know, some type of image that's two-dimensional and taking it to either a CAD program or a hand-carved wax, whichever, you know, is sort of applicable, and then casting and finishing. So that's sort of your full-blown custom. You know, so it's just kind of figuring out from the customer by listening to them and asking the right questions what it is they're actually looking for.
Have you ever have a guys making a decision buying engagement ring, and you know the fiance completely don't like it, that kind of situation?
Yes. And usually I handle that in a couple different ways. When a guy is looking for an engagement ring by himself and he's wanting it to be surprised, I always recommend it very simple and maybe just purchase a solitaire ring. So one diamond and a solitaire set. Because in that way, if she wants to do something different, he has the diamond and it can be reset into a different amount.
Oh, good idea.
And in that way we can handle it like that. Now, when it's a custom, I put giant red flags all over it, and I say, this is essentially your design. It's a special order custom. It is non-refundable. If she hates it, I'll work with you the best way I can, but, we're not taking it back, essentially. And I did, to give you an example, I had a guy a few years ago that brought in all of these sketches that he did himself. It was very precious. An engagement ring that was like twisted vines and all of this, the leaves were like marquee little emeralds and, and so I kept saying, okay, we're making this, non-refundable, whatever. Well, he went on top of a mountain in nature and proposed with this ring, and she hated it.
Oh my God, that's so sad.
Hated it. And while he, you feel bad. You're a person.
Right, I feel so sad.
You feel awful. But he also looked at it as like, maybe this isn't the person for me. This is a wake-up call. So not only was the ring then not working, neither was the relationship. And I did work with him to figure out what we can do to kind of help him, to ease the blow a little bit. And he ended up, I think about 2 years later, doing another ring for someone else that one, and that worked. So, but that was my most memorable, it was his design that he spent a long time on, and she just was like, oh, I hate this.
Okay, so super good advice for the guys out there. Please make sure that your brilliant idea will work.
I was going to say, my current store, not as much, but the last store I was in, yes, a lot. We did a lot of I would say probably 70% custom, 30% out of the case for same-sex. And quite frankly, a lot of those were some of my most enjoyable and best sales I had. A lot of times there would be a component of making matching rings, using stones. So it was sort of, if you look at a business end, you're kind of getting two jobs.
Right. Instead of selling one ring, you sell two.
Right. You have to make two, So on that end, it usually works out well. People skills. Absolutely people skills. Without a formal education in jewelry, there's still a lot you can learn working. A lot of times when you're a designer, you consider yourself an artist, and sometimes it can be hard for artists to put themselves out there.
Right.
And, a lot of times you see designers or jewelers not want to really interact with people. And in sales, you have to.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing you're doing is you are the end of the road for the consumer. You have your manufacturer, your wholesaler, and then you as a retailer. And you are the one that's giving that product to the person. So you have to be able to communicate effectively. Yeah, the business end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn all day, how to fabricate something on the bench, but if you don't know how to price it, you don't know how to price and value your time, if you don't know, how to basically mark it up for an effective, what good does it do?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things I've learned working in retail on the back end is how much things sell for, how much the store pays for them, and how we handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's changing, but I feel like the old school of thought, especially in art school or in jewelry design school, was for you to be sort of this art jeweler. And that can be tough to make a living.
Right.
And I think that's sort of what was always missing in that curriculum. I do. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I feel like retail kind of gets poo-pooed. It's like, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. I feel like that's sort of a mentality, especially for artists. I feel like and I could be wrong, but I feel like there's that underlying, like that's sort of beneath me. I'm an artist, I don't need to do that. But again, working in retail, and not even necessarily retail, I mean, it can be, a customer-facing job when you're in college, whether that be a counter person, whether it be a waiter or waitress. You're using those people skills. You're using those skills like multitasking and learning to work your time effectively. in jewelry, we can have all of these grand ideas about what is jewelry, specific art jewelry, but what are 98% of the people buying? They're going to a chain jewelry store and buying things that we think are like horrific,
Right.
You need to see that. You need to see that.
So yourself as being involving in the jewelry for a really long time, and then you went to art school, and then learning a lot of skill, now become a very successful salesperson for the jewelry specifically. What's your advice for the people that want to either get into the jewelry business or go to the art school? What will be your advice for those young people?
I think it would be starting somewhere and not being afraid to. I think we always have this idea of where we envision ourselves and see ourselves, and it takes several steps to get there, and you're never really there. You always want to be shooting for and then working your way up. It might be if you do go to an art school, get a job at the local coffee shop. Something where you're using and practicing your interacting skills. I feel like that's something that's missing so much, especially with younger people.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that having those skills, especially if you are younger, will help set you apart because a lot of your peers don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also too, I think it's just a matter of don't be discouraged if you feel like you're not doing something that is art or jewelry related, because you can find skills in anything you're doing that will help you grow and become what it is you want to be.
Right.
My current jeweler, I wouldn't have been able to be hired there had I not had this jewelry experience. And I think another thing too I always like to say is, because right now we always see a lot of like boss lady and female empowerment, all of these things, and I like to remind people you don't necessarily have to be your own boss. Not everyone's comfortable. Not everyone is that sort of regimented. Some people thrive under leadership, and it's okay to work for someone. It's okay to, you don't have to say, I'm going to own my own company. I'm going to own my own store. And I think people feel like unless they're not doing that, they're not succeeding. And I just kind of always like to say it's okay not to do those things. That's not how everyone thrives.
Right.
And just know that.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of successful story, and it's always focused on they have their own business and they become. But I think the key is you have to find where you are happy to be, and in whether that position is a business owner or is an employee working for somebody, but you have to be happy for who you are.
I think that's the key, and I feel like that's a big mantra is success is you own your own company, and it's like no, that's not. That would be incredibly stressful to me too.
Okay, great. That's a lot of good topic we go through today, and it's a lot of good advice that you have it here for to share with my fans on the YouTube. Really appreciate it. So everyone, if you are interested to know more about the sales, please leave your comment below and let me know if you have any question. I will ask Jaimie for you. Thank you, and thank you, Jaimie, for coming into this section. Bye bye.
Bye, PJ.